Welcome to the Equinety Podcast, where horse owners just like you share their incredible equinety stories and how equinety is changing their horses' lives. Whether you're searching for something to give your performance horse better focus, faster recovery, and more stamina, or in the extreme case where all hope seems lost, give your horse what it needs to help heal at a cellular level, you'll find it here. So jump in on today's episode to hear how Equinety is helping horses worldwide. Now, welcome your host, John Dowdy.
Hello and welcome to this week's Equinety Podcast, number 140. We are swinging up into Wyoming. We've got Cindy Delancey on the call this week. Cindy, welcome to the Team Equinety Podcast.
Hi, John. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be with you today.
Well, it's a pleasure. And with the hurricane that hit us a few weeks ago, we were supposed to do this a few weeks back. But anyways, here we are, all safe and sound. So I appreciate
you. Thank goodness. We were really thinking about you and our friends in Florida watching such terrible devastation of loss of life. Oh. And gosh, it just is so heartbreaking to see, and just so glad you and others are okay and safe and sound.
Yeah. We're doing well, and the place is recovering pretty quickly. So, well, I'm so excited to have you on the call this week. We're going to talk about quite a bit of stuff. Let's get back into, or let's start with your history and how'd you get into the horse world and how long you've been in the horse world, and let's start there.
Well, sure. So I was raised on Long Island, New York. As a kid, we used to vacation out west and loved the Western custom and culture, and knew this is somewhere I needed to be, and came to law school at the University of Wyoming, and married my husband, bought a horse from him, and 20 plus years later, I still have the horse and still have the cowboy, thankfully. So must have done something right.
Yeah,
but
no doubt.
I guess my interest in horses, I kind of tell people that I married into it. So, but never looked back.
That's right. So now I know we're going to be talking about the breeding program and stuff. How long was it before you got into the breeding side of things, and what was it that piqued your interest about the breeding side of things?
Well, my husband and I have a passion for phenomenal horses, and we've always raised our own horses, and my husband trains our horses for us, and he used to train for the public, but as he's gotten older, he's just kind of trains ours. But we started out by with purchasing the nicest brood mares we could at the time, and really looking for some specific bloodlines, and then we were purchasing breedings from other stallions, looking for again, development of the bloodlines that we had hoped for, a little bit of speed, crossed with some smarts with the cow, and just really looking to breed towards horses that would be versatile to do anything and excel in any discipline, whether it's ranch work, team roping, breakaway roping, barrels. Just good mind, good disposition, very athletic, able to do everything. So after several years of doing that, we were able to think the time came when we were like, maybe we'd like to venture into the world of being a stallion owner. So we bought He's a Fiery Fling as a 2-year-old. We went down to Kentucky to see him and just fell in love with him and had to have him. And it just kind of took off from there. He's now 7. And then we've added another stallion to our lineup. This summer, we were so incredibly blessed to be able to purchase Fiesta's Dynasty, who was raised on the Judd Little Ranch and shown by J.D. Yates and Kelly Yates, and he's a reserve AQHA champion head horse. So to have him in our barn has just been a delight as well. So we went from 0 to 2. So we dove in head first, but we love it, and it's been several years. We've learned a lot of lessons along the way, and one of the lessons for sure we've learned is the importance of proper nutrition and having good quality products to help our stallions be at their best.
Yeah, and I think that'll be a good segue. Now, we've got several other things to talk about because you've got a feed store, you've got the Wrangler Horse and Rodeo news publication. You produce rodeos, so it sounds like you've got a pretty full plate going on.
We do. My husband and I really consider ourselves to be agricultural entrepreneurs. And, we love the Western way of life. And we've just been so incredibly fortunate to be able to have opportunities come our way that allows us to be, kind of like what we like with our horses, a little diversified. So we ranch south of Wheatland, Wyoming. Our home place is in Cheyenne, where we have a feed store. We carry Woody's feed. There's Astera products. You name it, we can get it for you. And then, we have the Stallions, as I mentioned. We just recently acquired the Wrangler Horse and Rodeo News, which is a publication that specifically covers, obviously, as the title, rodeo, horse and rodeo news, but has been in existence for over 35 years and is really a mainstay in the Rocky Mountain region and beyond, as far as that source for your, everything going on with horses, rodeo, the incentive races. We really try to do a good job covering that. So that's been a ton of fun, as well as, with everything else that we have going on. But in addition to that, we are the Hell on Wheels Rodeo Company. So we produce summer rodeos in Cheyenne. Obviously, we take a pause when CFD, Cheyenne Frontier Days, is going on, but our rodeos are open and anybody is able to enter. And, it's through those relationships with the contestants that really helped me find my way to, knowing what equinety is and the benefits of it. So
Sure.
We're really happy that, you make so many new friends in the horse business, and, meeting David and Jennifer Teets was really, really special for us.
Yeah, they've been great ambassadors for us through the years. Now, with the with the Wrangler Horse and Rodeo News, is there a specific website people can go to learn more about that and maybe get a subscription to it, or how does that work?
Yeah, there is. Our website is www.thewrangler.com, and we're always looking for new subscribers. The paper comes out once a month in print edition. We do a mid-month newsletter, and then our print edition is sent over the email as well. So many ways to get your Wrangler Horse and Rodeo News. We're happy to fill your mailbox. We're always looking for new subscribers. And we also enjoy covering the news from associations. We have several associations that we're the official publication for that helps us share what's going on with their associations, report out their results, events, whatever's happening, many disciplines as well. So, we have cutting clubs and all kinds of different associations that we're proud to have as part of the Wrangler family and able to help share their news and help them get new members in their associations as well. So it's really been a ton of fun. We've been at the range for about 6 months now. It's something we really enjoy doing as a family. My daughter Reagan is studying agricultural communications at the University of Wyoming. So our vision is that this project will hopefully become her project one day, but
Sure.
Most important for her to continue with her studies. And she's on the rodeo team on scholarship with Bo Clark and his crew at the University of Wyoming. So right now, making sure that she's getting good grades and doing well in school,
Yeah.
is her focus. The
Yeah.
rest the rest of her working can wait.
That's
So,
right.
but that's kind of our hope, that she'll be able to take that on. And it's really something nice for her because, we winter in Arizona. And so for her to be able to have that flexibility to stay current and relevant with everything happening down south in the winter as well is really something that we enjoy to be able to cover in the Wrangler as well.
Yeah, that's great. Well, as a business, an Equinety business, we started advertising there in the Wrangler Horse and Rodeo News, and we've seen an uptick just in phone calls and emails and stuff too, just through that publication itself. So if you have a business and looking to advertise, then that's another avenue and very affordable as well. So now you had mentioned the Teets family there. How did you end up meeting them?
We met them through the horse community in Cheyenne. As I mentioned, we produce rodeos, and we also do team ropings and breakaway roping. So David and Jennifer, they're both all around contestants. They enter in multiple events. They have really nice horses. They rope well. So we got to know them through coming to our events. And I noticed they had an Equinety patch on their shirt one day. And this was, obviously maybe several years ago, before everybody knew what Equinety is and how important it is to have as part of their feeding program. But I asked them about it, and they told me about it. And so, learning about Equinety from an actual customer someone that uses it. They have nice horses. Their horses always are in great shape. And it really made sense to me, when they told me about what a mainstay Equinety was for them. And then, being introduced to the product at that time, Equinety really became a go-to with us when we had another stallion by the name of Carpathian that was having a little bit of trouble in the breeding barn. And we had tried a bunch of different things, and we felt almost kind of like we were ready to throw our hands up going, oh my goodness, what are we going to do here? And another stallion owner suggested adding Equinety to his feeding program. And boy, it made a real difference in the way that we were able to collect him and his performance in the breeding barn. And so ever since then, John, we never look back. There's not a day that goes by that my stallions don't get Equinety. And they just, their counts, their volume, the way that, their temperament. I mean, we just have seen an absolute change, over the years as we've, made sure that Equinety is really one of the foundations of the house for us, as we maintain our stallions and make sure they're at their best for breeding season.
Yeah. And, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time and maybe you've been seeing Equinety, advertised around and in different places, if you don't know what it is, we have two products. So the Equinety Horse Excel is 100% pure amino acids. There's no fillers, no sugars, no starches, and there's no loading dose. And what makes the product really unique is it doesn't fit into a specific supplement category. In other words, it's not just a joint supplement, hoof supplement, muscle building, calming, shiny coat, et cetera, et cetera. What it's actually doing is it gives the body what it needs to release its own hormones, and then the body sends its own hormones to its own problem areas. And so it customizes to the horse. And what we found through the years, we're going on 9 years now on the market, and just talking with thousands of horse owners around the country, different feeding programs, different disciplines, different ages, all these horses that are being fed by us humans are lacking in the right amount of amino acids. And, the interesting thing with the Equinety Horse Excel, it's only 5.2 grams, which is like a teaspoon. And the reason why it's only that amount is because we're targeting the pituitary gland, which is roughly the same size in horses. So has nothing to do with the size of the animal. It has to do with the size of the pituitary gland. But, one of the reasons why I started the podcast, about 4 years ago, we were getting so many testimonials, stories, emails, phone calls, people sharing their experience with the product, and some of them to the crazy extreme. I thought, you know what? It's a real shame that I'm the only one hearing this story outside of their circle. So I started this podcast to, collect all of these testimonials and stories so other people could hear about them. And one of the things just in the last, I would say 3 or 4 years, specifically talking about breeding facilities, they are showing an increase in fertility, which is exactly what you're talking about. And we have some pretty exciting things coming up here in the next month or two with some pretty big players in the breeding world that are going to share their experience with that as well. So, we're completely blessed to have a product that works as well as it does. And about 1.5 years ago, we came out with a secondary product called the Equinety Ultimate OEC. And that's a flaxseed-based omega-3 oil. It's got 1,000 IUs of natural cold-pressed vitamin E and colloidal silver all in one. And so if you're a big fan of oils, you just want to make sure that it's a omega-3, higher in omega-3s than omega-6s, because the omega-6s causes inflammation. And if you're using vitamin E, you want to make sure it's a natural cold-pressed vitamin E, not synthetic. And then the colloidal silver helps with ulcers and drinking on the road and, things like that. So it's not that there's anything unique with any one of those ingredients. It's just there's nothing on the market that has all three of them into one. And the reason why we brought that product out was to work in combination with the Horse Excel to give the repaired cells nutrition, but it also serves as a really powerful antioxidant, which helps reduce inflammation. So, what we found through the years, I'll say 1.5 years since we've been on the market with both products, just the combination of the two is a really powerful combination. So people tend to really love it. But if you had to choose one product over the other, I'd always recommend the Equinety Horse Excel, which is the amino acids. So it's pretty amazing stuff. Of course, I'm telling you that, but
it really is, John. And and the other thing that I wanted to just really convey to my fellow horse owners is not only is the product incredible, but you and your company are. And what I mean by that is through getting to know David and Jennifer, I learned that they were active military members, and then I also learned that they were involved in an organization that is available for active military rodeo enthusiasts to have, competitions and to compete around the country, at their own events. And to know that Equinety was really one of the first sponsors to kind of help them get that going. The Professional Armed Forces Rodeo Association, was very meaningful to me, to know that was important as a corporate value for Equinety. I like that. And in addition to that, your customer service is exceptional. I order Equinety and it's out the door before I even see an email, and I mean, you're always so approachable, reachable. If there's ever a problem, you make it right with someone, those are just, traits like doing business with people that are getting harder and harder to find. So I just really wanted to convey that in addition to an exceptional product, you're dealing with an exceptional person, an exceptional company with exceptional corporate values and a good corporate culture. Well, and that means something to me.
Well, I appreciate that. I feel like I'm the guest on the podcast now. Yeah. With PAFRA, you were just talking about the Professional Armed Forces Rodeo Association. They just had their 21st year event this past weekend there in Topeka, Kansas. And I believe that's going to be streamed on the Cowboy Channel November 1st, I believe. So it's a really neat event. And, anything that we can always do to help support the military, allow us to do the things that we want to do.
It was also so exciting to see Jennifer do so well. She ended up being the all-around champion. So
yes.
Very excited for her to see that saddle come home to Cheyenne with one of our active military members right in our community was a double win in my mind. So yeah. Thank you, John, for your support of that organization. Great people, great event, and great company to partner with to help get the word out for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Cindy, if there's anybody else that's tuning in that has heard all about the great stuff of Equinety and they might still be sitting on the fence, is there anything that you could say that you haven't said that might get them to get off the fence and give it a try?
I just think give it a try, again, there's really, knowing that it's an all natural product, there's really no downside to it. I know if you try it, you'll see the results that you're after. And particularly fellow stallion owners, as we move into breeding season, it takes about 90 days, for things to work through the system there. So now would be the ideal time to really start to introduce this to your stallion's diet with the hope that come, February, that it will have time to work its magic. So can't say enough good things about the product or you, John. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you today.
Well, I appreciate it as well. Cindy Delancy out of Wyoming, thank you so much for taking the time to share your experience here on the Team Equinety Podcast.
Thank you, John. Have a nice day.
That's all for this episode of the Equinety Podcast. For more information on purchasing Equinety, be sure to visit our website at teamequinety.com, where you'll also find product information as well as more testimonials on how others have seen amazing results by implementing Equinety into their horses' supplement regime. We'll have more stories on how Equinety is helping horses worldwide right here on a future episode of the Equinety Podcast.